United States means a federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, board, other entity of the United States, an instrumentality of the United States. People wonder, what is the system? What is the name of the system? Is it white supremacy? What is it? Is it the Jim Crow law? What is the system that got so-called black people in this jam? First thing you got to recognize is the United States means a federal corporation. Oh, you here for it? Well, you finna get a whole lot of it. Peace and love to all the Muslims. You finna get a whole lot of it. Cornell Law School. This is coming from a credible source. law.cornell.edu. This is where this is coming from. This ain't coming from some rinky-dink attorney, some rinky-dink person that's just saying nonsense on the internet, talking about Black Lives Matter. This is coming from a historical and a lawful perspective. You know, the place that so-called black people never get taken there. They never get took there. So-called African Americans complain. People of color, Indians, you complain all day, but you never go to law, ever. You never go here. But you complain from the top of the mountains, screaming out. Why is this happening to us? Why do we keep going through this? For years. For years. And it's still go on for years. You never think to go to law, ever. Because you never been taught to go to law. So since you never been taught to go to something that actually can bring remedies, you gonna stay in a victimization mentality. That's where you gonna stay at. So this right here, you could get this book right here from riseofthemoors.org. This book right here, got them on deck right now. Are you confused about law? Are you? Because if you are, you need not to be confused, because there's information, plenty of information. You could go to CanaanlandMoors.com. Canaan Moors on YouTube. They got thousands of videos. You can go to RVBayPublications.com. You can go to KhalifaMedia.com. You could go there. My brother Jalil just put a book out. You can go get his book on Amazon. Moorish Lighthouse. You can go get his literature. Atazaz Bey, he put a bang out. It's plenty of Moors that got information. Truth Ali put a bang out. Plenty of Moors out here that got information. Because law and history must be taught together. See, we ain't been taught law and history at all. We've been taught dogma. So first thing you got to recognize is that the United States is a federal corporation. I put a post up. I'm looking at the comments on there. I look at the comments. Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, he said he was going to make the European tell the truth. He was going to make the Caucasian tell the truth. The hybrids tell the truth. You see a European dude saying out of his mouth what declared Moors have been saying for years, which is the United States is a federal corporation. We've been saying this. So you see it coming from a hybrid European now. Nah, maybe that might spark something in your head and you might listen now. You see? Because you got so many people that just suck up to these hybrid Europeans, like what they say. Oh, it gotta be right because the Europeans said it out their mouth. It gotta be the right thing now. Because my European master said it was. You got them type people. Now, when you see United States is a federal corporation, according to law, Cornell Law School, When you go to these type of sources and you pull information out, this is not like an opinionated statement. This is actual documented facts. This is why you got to know what's going on. You got to know what kind of citizen you are. Naturalized? Are you a national? Are you a subject? Or are you an alien? Caucasians are not free white persons. They're not even Americans. They're squatters in the Americas. They're subjects. They never got naturalized. This is why you got to go to law, because law ain't going to steer you wrong. It's not going to steer you wrong. This is why so-called people of color, they don't get taken to law school or law books. And if they do study law as attorneys, they not going to come outside and be talking like Declare Moores be talking. No, sir, because they can get disbarred. They don't want to get disbarred. Oh, no, they don't want to go against the crown. They don't want to go against the crown. My brother Jamal that wrote this book, he got a court case tomorrow. I wonder how many more is going to show up. Grand Sheikh Jamal Talib Abdullah Squirrelfoot Bay. He got a case tomorrow. He banging against the corporation tomorrow. I wonder how many more is going to show up. How many more is going to pull up and show support for the Moor? I wonder how many Moors that say they Moors on the internet, and they say they Moors when it's time and when it's cool to put a fez on and a turban on. How many more is going to pull up? How many more is going to support? Yeah, it's finna get real uncomfortable. It's finna get real uncomfortable. It's finna get real uncomfortable. You have people on here talking about, well, how do I nationalize? How do you nationalize? Nationality is a God-given gift from the Creator. All you have to do is declare out of your mouth that you are not Negro, black, colored. You're not African American. You're not an Indian. You're not a Native American. You declare out your mouth that you are a free national, Moorish American. That's what you do. You declare out of your own mouth who you are to the universe. You put that out there. Yeah, right. Where they go? Peace, Cool Joe. Where they go? Whole lot of Moors out there think it's cool to pose and take pictures and all that. My brother Jamal, he got court tomorrow. How many more is going to pull up and support more? Because he put a post up today that was real interesting about a European who did a write-off, a discharge for $800,000 some crib. So she put up a discharge of $1, one note. She wrote off a $800,000 house, a mansion, for $1. One. Official Rise of the Moors. That's his IG. One note. She wrote it off. But you got people out here talking about some, well, how do I do this and how do I do that? You could go to law books, start there. First thing you got to do is you got to declare an actual identity. If you don't have an identity, you just pissing in the wind. That's what you doing. You could do all this chakra, spirituality. You could do all these crystals. You could do all that. You could do all of that. But if you don't have a declared free national name to tie you in to a land, a culture, a people, a history, a language, a flag, a national seal, a treaty, actual money, you pissing in the wind, fam. You pissing in the wind. But you complain the most, though. You complain the loudest. Everybody around the world knows that so-called black people, all they gonna do is complain, cry, bitch and moan about their conditions. Let's keep it all way ultra. That's what people do. Or they gonna laugh. They gonna crack jokes about somebody's downfall. Everything is funny. Everything is laughing. Everything is playtime. Everything. Everything gotta be funny. Everything gotta be some comedy shit. Meanwhile, the joke on our people, because everybody from around the world, they in our land, living off our virtues, our Moorish birthrights. They living off our land, living off our virtues and birthrights. But everything funny though. Everything a laugh. Everything. Ah ha ha, so and so got fucked up. Oh yeah. It's you know how like demonstrative and asinine that shit is, that our people glorify their own people getting fucked up. Something bad happening. Our people glorify publicly that some get fucked up with their own people. If that ain't some demonstrative type behavior, what is? Felons still have birthrights. Everyone, that's a great question. Do felons have birthrights? Yes. Great question. Every one of us have a birthright. Our birthright cannot be taken away. It cannot be transferred to another being. But you can abandon your birthright. Great question. You can abandon your birthright. How do you abandon your birthright? By not declaring your birthright and who you are. A free national Moorish American. A Moor. Negro, black, colored, African American, Pan-African, Hebrew Israelite, Indian. You're participating voluntarily in a system called the Doctrine of Discovery. Manifest Destiny. Let's get to that. And that system is what people keep misidentifying as white supremacy. That's the name of the system. It has many names. Get this book right here. Throw a little book reference on you. It's called Unsettling Truths: The Ongoing Dehumanizing Legacy of the Doctrine of Discovery. You might want to pick this book up. Yeah. I don't show these off just to show these off and be like, I got this book. I don't do that. That ain't what this about. This about each one teach one. The more people that get the literature, the more the stronger we will become. And we're becoming. I don't show this shit off to be like, I got this book. No, sir. That ain't what this shit about. So look, how we out here misidentifying the so-called white man. They're not white men. They're Albions, Caucasian hybrids, Europeans. See this right here? Big pictures. Slavery, externalization, institutionalization, and internalization. See? That's slavery. Jim Crow, externalization, institutionalization, and internalization. That's Jim Crow. Civil rights movement, which is a fraud. The new Jim Crow, same formula. See? The same formula. They just put a different name on the system. What is the system? The system is the Doctrine of Discovery. That's the system. Let's get into that. All they do is change names. Look, narrative supremacy / superiority / exceptionalism. They just put a different name on the thing. Look, systems and structures will seek to maintain and preserve themselves. Systems and structures, therefore, will form metaphors, narratives, and imaginaries that help to sustain the values that have become embedded within the system. The doctrine of discovery serves the social system of the Western world. What? Wow. The social system of the Western world, what our people keep misidentifying as, is a problem with our skin. It's racism. It's white supremacy. No. It's called the doctrine of discovery. It is the entire social system of the Western world. That means this whole hemisphere over here is polluted with the doctrine of discovery. The dysfunctional imagination that shapes and perpetuates the doctrine of discovery helps maintain the social construct of Western reality, even when the system operates in a dysfunctional fashion. The dysfunctional imagination forms dysfunctional narratives that help to sustain the dysfunctional system. It's a lot of dysfunctional shit going on right here, ain't it? You got dysfunctional imagination, dysfunctional narratives. You got an entirely polluted dysfunctional system, all formed from the doctrine of discovery. See? That's what's going on. So when people be like, well, they don't like me because the color of my skin. No, sir. It's not that. It's a system known as the doctrine of discovery. What is the doctrine of discovery about? Externalization, institutionalization, and internalization. Slavery, supremacy, superiority, and exceptionalism. That's what it is about. Birthright theft, stealing your land, getting you to think that you came over here from another continent. Whole time, you've always been here in the Americas. If you are an American, a Moorish American, that means your ancestors have always been here. They didn't come from nowhere else. They did not come from anywhere else. They've always been here. Since time immemorial, we've always been here. Look, let's go a little further than that real quick. Let me see something. Let's go a little further than that. You want to go a little further than that real quick? Hold up. You want to go a little further than that real quick? You want to go a little further than that? Let me see if I could find this right here. This is on the fly. Let me see. Okay. So these people, they think that they're doing the work of God. This is what these people think they're doing. So look, let me bring you in. It say Columbus and all his people. It say the authority to discover and to conquer drew from an assumed spiritual authority. They think they doing the work of God. You see? This is where you got these so-called Christians thinking that they can civilize the indigenous people, the Moorish people. You see? You got to know what you're looking at. The bull asserted that those who would oppose the authority and rule of the European powers would be opposing the will of God. See? Let no one therefore infringe or with rash boldness, contravene this our recommendation, exhortation, requisition, gift, grant, assignment, constitution, deputation, decree, mandate, prohibition, and will. Should anyone presume to attempt this, be it known to him that he will incur the wrath of Almighty God. This is how diluted and dysfunctional that system is to this day. Because you have people who think that they're superior than indigenous people. And you have our people who are indigenous people, descendants of the Aboriginal descendant people, who go along to get along with the dysfunctional system known as the doctrine of discovery, manifest destiny. These are the sellouts, the Moriscos, who go along with it. They'll use one of our people because our people, they'll look at each other like, oh, wait, you look like one of us, so you must be for us. No, sir. You can tell by their language. If they saying language that's contradicting the Constitution, contradicting the 10 Bill of Rights, contradicting treaty law, then you will see that they are a part of the dysfunctional doctrine of discovery. That's how you tell. You don't tell by how they look. You don't tell by how they dress, how much cash they got. No, sir. No, sir. You don't go by that. You go by free national standards and principles. That's how you go by that. So look, let's go right here. Keep this in mind. Externalization, institutionalization, and internalization. We talking about the system known as the doctrine of discovery. Get this book in your life. This shit go hard. See, it's an ongoing genocide. It didn't stop. Like people think that because it's a new year that it somehow stopped. It never stopped. The Christian black holes never stopped. They just got renamed. So let me see if I can find something for y'all real quick. Hold up. Let's see if I can find something for y'all real quick. Let's go right here. All right. Let's go right here. People want answers. Let me see what I can do with some answers while I'm on here. Look. It say, the popular perception is that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. But reading the entire amendment reveals that this is not the case. The 13th Amendment states, listen, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. All right, we going in. We going in. Check it out. This is for the Moabites that asked about birthrights. Do felons have birthrights? Check it out. All right. So look, it says emphasis on hours shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. This clause in the 13th Amendment means, what does it mean? So I can hear people now talking about, Kush, what does that mean? It means that slavery was never abolished, but merely redefined and codified under a criminal justice system. What is the name of that system? It's not white supremacy. It's not racism. It's the doctrine of discovery. You get it? It's the doctrine of discovery. That's the name of the system. It's the Christian black codes. You still want to identify as a color person. Guess what? You're voluntarily participating in the system, the doctrine of discovery. You still want to identify as African American. Guess what? You are participating in the doctrine of discovery. And the doctrine of discovery is for the enslavement of all so-called black, colored, African American, Indians, Native Americans. It is the enslavement of all of you. Perpetual servitude. Peace. That's what it is. You want to identify as a color, Pan-African. Guess what? You are participating in the doctrine of discovery. So don't bitch and cry about how you getting treated, because the information is out there. If you don't want to read it, that's on you. Don't say, well, I'm tired of our people getting treated like this. I'm tired of our people getting shot down in the street. Guess what? You keep identifying as a color, you're voluntarily participating in the manifest destiny, the doctrine of discovery, dumb diverses. Yeah, I'm putting it on YouTube. Focus, man. Focus. You participating in that. And the doctrine of discovery and the Christian black codes were all established for the perpetual servitude and enslavement of all so-called people of color, all so-called Indians, every last one of them. So look, these ain't my words. These ain't my words. We talk about the 13th Amendment. Huh? The 13th Amendment, this clause means that slavery was never abolished, but merely redefined and codified under a criminal justice system. It could be argued that a form of slavery now continues through the legal venue of incarceration. Let's do some critical thinking on that real quick, real fast, quick, fast. There's way more people of indigenous descent, Moors, incarcerated than Caucasians. That's a fact. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Maybe, just maybe, it's because of this right here. This right here. It says, in 1866, the U.S. Congress also passed the 14th Amendment, which is unconstitutional. This amendment was written specifically to address the shortcomings of Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution. Watch this right here. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? It's cool if you don't know, because you're going to learn today. That means anyone who still misidentifies as a color is automatically a subject ward of the federal U.S. corporation, because they have not objected to that status as a ward, a subject to the federal corporation, which is right here. Look. Which is right here. So if you don't object to being a person of color, then you're a part of the federal corporation. You're a subject. Because the United States is a federal corporation. So you're automatically agreeing to be a prisoner of war. Bing bong. Bing bong. You're automatically by default agreeing to be in the very place that you don't want to be, which is a federal corporate ward. that belongs to the United States corporation. So don't think that Caucasians are not subjects either, though. See? Caucasians are subjects too. Anybody who has a birth certificate, anybody that has a driver's license, anybody that has a marriage license, if you have a license in general, you belong to the U.S. corporation. Unless you declare your nationality. You declare your nationality, that gets you out of the jurisdiction of the U.S. corporation. How? How does it do that? Watch. Because according to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, the inherent rights of indigenous peoples, which derive from their political, economic, and social structures, and from their cultures, spiritual traditions, histories, and philosophies, especially their rights to their lands. Territories, and resources. Why you think they don't want people talking about political status? Why they want our people to keep talking about twerking, sports, crazy ass music? Huh? Why you think they want our people talking about materialism 24/7? So you never get it in your mind that you're actually on your land, your territories, your resources. All of these lands are your lands. All of these lands are your lands. But guess what? If you claim to be a color person, you claim to be a Pan-African, you claim to be an American Indian, you claim to be Native American, guess what? You have just abandoned this entire dominion. And you are a corporate ward at that point in time by your own volition. You're a ward. It don't matter how you feel. It don't matter what you believe. You could believe whatever you want to believe. See, declaring wars don't deal with beliefs. We go past the beliefs. We go to beliefs, we go to faith, and then we go to fruition. When all those things align, the Trinity. That's the Trinity. Belief, faith, and fruition. That's the Trinity. You can get this book right here. Just DM me, or you can go to riseofthemoors.org. You could do that if you choose to. But it's better to be a warrior in the garden than the gardener in the war. So, nothing wrong with knowledge. There's nothing wrong with knowledge. There's nothing wrong with knowledge because every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. So you say you indigenous. Well, how come you ain't declared a nationality then? Because this is the nationality. This is the protection that so-called color people, Native Americans, Indians don't have. Yo, I just read some wild shit out of this book right here. I might do a series on it out of this book right here. You think it's a coincidence? Let me just throw this at y'all. Do you think it's a coincidence that it's an ongoing problem that none of these federal black association members, none of these Black Lives Matter people, none of these NAACP organizations, none of these fraternities, none of these sororities, do you see it? You think it's a coincidence that none of them have a solution? None of them have a solution. They tell you how you could dress, They'll tell you how you could dance. They'll tell you to show up at a meeting. They'll tell you how to do all of that. How to give for donations and drives and causes. They'll show you, they'll show all of that. They'll pull out all the stops. But when it comes to an actual solution, so we say, well, I'm tired of being in my car. I'm getting pulled over by these slave patrol people. I get harassed. I'm under duress. I'm in fear of my life. You ain't tired of that? But they got all these black groups. Count them off. All these alphabet groups that they just pop up. Every year they pop up with another one. Every year. Every few years they pop up with another one. They told you that you was, hold up. So they told you that you was a Negro. So they told you was an Indian. First you was a slave. Then you went from a slave to an Indian, but you still a slave, but now you a free slave. Then you went from a free slave to a color person. So you was a slave, then you was an Indian, then you was a free slave, then you was a color person, then you was black. And hold up, I ain't done yet. And then y'all know how it go. And what happened after that? So you was all of those, but then you got moved to African American. What? Meanwhile, the Caucasian people, how come their name ain't never get moved around? See, I forgot about the hairstyle. That's right, Moore. I forgot about the hairstyle. Then they said you were Afro-Americans. What? Afro-Americans? And then you have people like them so-called black leaders misleading you further, saying, nah, you're not an Afro-American. Nah, you an African-American now. You see how they get our own people, man? It's the same game. The game is the doctrine of discovery. This is the ongoing dehumanizing legacy. Now, Kanye trying to wake people up. Kanye trying to wake people up, putting his neck on the line. Trying to wake people up that still want to identify as the damn color instead of identifying as their free national name. More. You still want to misidentify as a color. You tell me, how come you ain't got no $5 Moors popping up? You ain't got no Caucasians popping up like $5 Moors? You show me that. Pull up the footage. Show me a Caucasian, a hybrid that came out their face and was like, I'm a $5 Moor. Show me that. Show it to me. Show it to me. But this is why, you know, the so-called Native Americans, so-called Indians are sellouts. Because it's like this. Caucasians are claiming to be Native Americans and so-called Indians. How come none of these Caucasians ever came out their face and said that they was $5 Moors? Oh, but the word Moor is ancient. Indian has only been around for a few hundred years now. Oh, somebody explain that. Somebody explain that. The word Moor has been around since before the pyramids. So explain why Caucasians, European hybrids, explain why they took on the term Indian and not take on the term Moor, because Moor is more ancient. Why they take on Indian for? You know why? Because they knew Indian was a fucking misnomer. So when they took on the term Indian, they said, okay, since we tricked them people who really Moors, we tricked them with some fake benefits. So we tricked them to say that they Indians. Okay, that opens up the jurisdiction that we could slide in and we could start claiming land. acting like we're Indians. You gotta know what you're looking at. That's why they wanted people to identify as Indians, so they could take their birthright away from them by tricking them. You get it? You get it? So they tricked the Moorish people to misidentify as Indians, so the Caucasian hybrids could slide in and say, nah, we're Indians too. Oh, I just got to pay $5 and I could be an Indian too? Oh, word? Shit. Hey, everybody come on. We all finna be Indians then. And that's what they did. We all, come on, y'all. Come on, we all finna be Indians now. Come on, let's go. We all Indians now. That's what they did. So the so-called Indians is the ones who sold out, thinking that they was going to get some benefits by saying that they were Indians, Native Americans. Come on, y'all. Hey, let's go. We all Indians. Come on, we all Indians. Come on, we all Indians. Soon as they did that, they said, oh, the Caucasians was like, shit, we Indians too. Shit, what? We want all this land. And that's what they did. So who the joke on? Who the joke on? Yeah, they keep switching costumes. But guess what though? Why didn't they ever take on the Moorish fairs? Why they ain't never take on that? Huh? They try. You see, Caucasians, they try by imitating the Moors with the fezzes, with the tasseled pin down, the Freemasons. They try, but they can never succeed because the tassel swings 360 degrees. See that? It's an ancient headdress. It's not a hat. The fez is an ancient headdress symbolizing the Moabite woman, the womb. The cardinal points. The 4 lunar phases. The 4 seasons. The 4 directions. That's what you got them 4 points on the top of that fez for. That's birthright. That's nationality. Come on, man. Stop playing. Stop playing, man. So look. We go right here. We go right here with it. Check it out. So it say this right here. This right here. So when they got people to accept with the 14th Amendment, which is unconstitutional, when they got people to say that they're U.S. citizens, they got them. They tricked them out of their birthright. They got them by agreeing to be a person instead of being qualified as a natural person, which is your birthright and your nationality by blood. Jus sanguinis. So when they did the 14th Amendment, which was completely unconstitutional, you could Google that, research that. When they did that, it say the amendment starts with the inclusive language, quote unquote, all persons. Got to know what you're looking at. Got to know the language. Peace. Got to know the language. It says, and extends the rights of citizenship to anyone born or naturalized in the United States under the jurisdiction of the government. However, Section 2 of this amendment is not nearly as inclusive. Watch this shit. See, you dealing with some dark sorcerers. Some dark sorcerers. So it say, representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole of persons. See how they're using persons? In each state, excluding Indians not taxed. What they do right there. And this is what so-called Indians always get it fucked up with. They'll be like, they don't even know what they're reading. So they'll be like, excluding Indians. So Indians are not part of that. You don't know what you're reading. When it said excluding Indians, look up the word excluding. Look that word up. When they said excluding, that meant you also are part of the exclusion. You, as a so-called Indian, right, that legalese, you are inclusive of this entire 14th Amendment unconstitutional document. See that? So let's go further. It say indigenous peoples were still explicitly excluded. Wow. You still was excluded, even though you thought you got over by calling yourself a damn Indian. You still got excluded, explicitly excluded. Women were again left out. See, you see, they don't want the woman, the Moorish woman, to wake up. They want the Moorish woman to keep twerking, keep turning around in the mirror, keep showing your ass off. They want you to do that. They want you to care about being vain, vanity. They want y'all Moorish women to keep talking about killing y'all babies with that fuck nigga free dumbass song. That shit dumb as hell. She at the abortion clinic twerking with a chick on a cot. Goofy as hell. But they want women, they want our Moorish women to be stuck on materialism. I don't need no man. I got my own bag. They want you to be like that. They want you on Section 8. They want you taking Uncle Sam benefits. That's all part. That's all part of the doctrine of discovery. You don't even realize you playing a role in your own people's genocide and dehumanization. Right, a pregnant chick at that. You playing a role in the destruction of your own people. And you dudes ain't no better because you paying them bread for doing the stupid shit. You paying them the bread. So dudes ain't no better. You ain't no better if you paying her to do all that goofy ass shit. Instead of being like, hey baby, step down. Get off that shit. Get off that shit. Get your mind right. Here, take some literature. Read some of this. Learn about your nationality and your birthrights. It say, and for a second time, criminal courts are given the role of gatekeeper to the full rights of citizenship. It says, when paired with the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment had very little impact on the long-term prospects of freedom and equality for anyone not so-called white, European hybrids, Caucasians. You see, they use the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to further explicitly exclude Moorish people from their rights, resources, and land. But nah. You know, you got it cracking. You got your bag up. You busting out here, right? You see that? No land owning, no nothing, no freedom, no equality. But you black though. Yeah, you black, right? You black, ain't you? You black? Yeah, you cool, right? You cool. You think it's cool saying that black shit, don't you? Yeah. You think it's cool, right? Don't even realize what you're saying out your mouth. You don't even realize. So let me tell you about Abraham Lincoln real fast before I slide. So in 1865, Abraham Lincoln, he was in a bind. It say he wanted to end, watch this shit right here, fam. See Villa Islam, more. Check this out, more. Abraham Lincoln. Everybody think Abraham Lincoln was so free to so-called black people, right? Watch this. Shit finna blow your mind. Lincoln wanted to end chattel slavery, but did not really believe that black lives mattered. What? What? Everybody try to boost up Abraham Lincoln. But the reality was Abraham Lincoln didn't care about so-called Black Lives Mattering. Oh, that's uncomfortable for you. If you one of them people, you want to run it back? You want to run it back? If you one of them people that just go by beliefs, that's uncomfortable for you. That's like a buzzword for you. Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so, Abe. Lincoln was in a bind in 1865. He wanted to end chattel slavery, but did not really believe that black lives mattered. He did not believe that so-called black people should be judges, jurors, or even be allowed to vote. Abraham Lincoln. The Civil War was over, and he was the European president of a European supremacist nation that stood united around the narrative of European American Christian exceptionalism and triumphalism. Do you see what's going on? Abraham Lincoln was in on the shit too. All of them is. This is why nationality is the order of the day. It say he had to figure out what needed to happen to these inferior so-called black people. Abraham Lincoln. Along with other people of color. You still want to be a person of color? You gonna want to get this book in your life. Yeah, you gonna want to get this in your life. This shit go hard. So look, all y'all out there still want to be persons of color. You still think that shit cool, right? Don't you? Yeah. I'm black. Yeah. So watch this. In a society, government, and constitution that had been built for European landowners. Watch this shit. It say Abraham Lincoln's grand political solution was to use the 13th Amendment to keep European supremacy. It's not white supremacy. It's doctrine of discovery. But check it out. European supremacy alive beyond the grotesque institution of slavery. Check it out. So Abraham Lincoln created a second tier level of citizenship. Wow. So when they say so-called black people get treated like second class citizens, now you know where it came from. 1865, Abraham Lincoln. There you go. Bing bong. So he say, specifically for people of color. You still want to be a person of color, huh? You still think that shit cool, don't you? Don't you? Abraham Lincoln told you in the documented forms, he created a second tier level of citizenship specifically for people of color. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Oh my God. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. What did this shit do? This clause in the 13th Amendment, what did it mean? It meant slavery was never abolished. It was simply redefined and codified under the jurisdiction of law enforcement officers and the courts. Nigga. Man, that's heavy. That's heavy. All persons of color. If you identify as a person of color, you are voluntarily going into a system out of your own mouth of peonage, slavery, grotesque mistreatment, perpetual servitude. That means forever. Forever. Forever, ever. But you think it's cool. It don't matter. It don't matter what you identify as. Nah, it don't matter. It's cool. I'm black. I want to be black. Yeah. All right. Well, now you know what you're looking at. Now you know what you're looking for. Now you ain't got to wonder why so-called black people get treated like that. Why so-called black people get gunned down in the street. Now you know why. Now you know why. So if you still want to identify as a person of color, you still want to teach your babies that they're persons of color, that's child abuse. That's child abuse. If you hear this message and you still want to identify your children as persons of color, African American, black, Negro, Indians, if you still want to do that, that's child abuse. Because you the adult. They the children. You should know better as an adult. If you don't know better, you should get to know better. So your children ain't walking around here as perpetual slaves to a system known as the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery. You call somebody a color person today, it's the same meaning as it was when the doctrine of discovery was created. A perpetual slave. I don't care how nice you want to put it. Oh, my beautiful black God, my beautiful black goddess. It's the same shit. Perpetual servitude and slavery. I don't care how you want to dress it up. I don't care how much Gucci and Prada and Balenciaga you want to throw on it. It's the same meaning then as it was when it was first created under color of law. Bing bong. So, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Because look, it say this system of a second class tier of citizenship was such an effective constitutional tool to maintain European supremacy that it was used again in the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment extended the right of citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's what it is. That's what it did. And this is why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, the 14th and 15th Amendment is not needed for the salvation of my people. Wow. This is why the Prophet said, study, study, study. He said, if you doubt whether I, the Prophet, are for the redemption of my peoples, go to those that know law. So-called black people, people of color, they don't go to nobody that know law. No, they don't. They go to the club. They go to the party. They go to the store to buy some. They not going to nobody that know law. The people that know law get scrutinized. They get jokes cracked on them and all that. Whole time, them the ones you need to go holler at. You need to go holler at people that study law. Not people that buy Balenciaga. Shit. There go the countdown. I hope y'all got something off this beam. It's always love building with the Moors, man. It's always love building with y'all. It's always love building with y'all, man. Study, study, study. Stop identifying as a person of color, because you making your own self a perpetual slave. I self law and master. Peace, Moors.